Hello and welcome back to the ThunderWizard.com YouTube channel. This is Mahadev the Thunder Wizard, and this is the Solar Flash update for July 18th. There's a lot of stuff going on, both in our faces and behind the scenes. And today I want to ask a question which I will answer, which is, what is the most powerful tool to defeat alien invaders of Earth? And what does that mean? What are aliens? How are they going to invade Earth? According to the mainstream media news channels, including NBC, Nightly News, according to the news channels, you are being told that you need to be on the lookout for extraterrestrial alien invaders who pose a risk to your well-being. What is actually going on behind the scenes, if you've been following any of the actual hearings and the whistleblowers that are actually going in front of Congress, you're finding out that what they're talking about and what you're being told is being talked about are two completely different things. In fact, before I forget, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a link in here to another video that, if you really want to know what's going on, this is a recent video that just came out on YouTube, surprisingly enough. You can go check this out. I'll just put that in the chat here, and I'll put it in the description later when we're done with this. All right. So the reason why I chose this picture here is because if aliens do invade, their ships are going to look like this. If you look closely at that ship, you will see a lot of exhaust vents. You will see panels, metallic panels put together. It looks like something humans could build, except for the shape. The shape is unfamiliar to what we normally associate with human-created flying objects. And I'm here to tell you that that is exactly what alien invader craft will look like, among other things. And so we have to once again ask the question, what does the word alien mean? Alien means different. It means not just different, it means completely strange, totally unrelated. I don't know if you know this, but the first word for a psychiatrist or a psychologist who dealt with narcissists and psychopaths, the name for that psychologist was called an alienist. And the reason was because psychopaths and sociopaths, they don't relate to human population. They're different. The thing that makes them different, number one, they don't live in reality. They don't have a functioning relationship with actual reality. But more importantly than that, they do not relate and interact with other humans on a normal level. They have no empathy. So the thing that holds us together as a species is our empathy for each other. To be able to understand what it would be like to be in somebody else's skin. And so if you have empathy, you don't do things like harm people, manipulate them, use them, enslave them. You don't do that because you know that makes you feel bad, because you know how that would feel. You also understand if you do that to other people, they're more likely to do it to you. Not to mention the fact that you take joy out of having a pleasant interaction. It creates this building of joy and connection. When you do something nice for somebody else and they do something back for you, and you love them and they love you back, it creates this cycle of good feelings that keeps growing and growing and growing. And healthy people want that. Aliens don't. Aliens don't because they're sociopathic. So I want to tell you that the Hollywood version and the mainstream version of aliens is accurate. Because the way that our instinct when it comes to aliens, our instinct is that aliens are sociopathic. They're either predatory, like the typical reptilian that people talk about. Reptilians that shapeshift supposedly into humans, they are sociopathic, they're psychopathic, they have zero empathy. They don't care how you feel. They might even get pleasure out of your pain. They might enjoy the idea of creating fear in you. And this is the same thing that happens with human psychopaths and human sociopaths. At the very least, a sociopath is somebody that doesn't have any empathy. They may not have any negative feelings, but they don't have any empathy for you. They don't care if you live or you die. You're an object to them. So that is accurate. And this is what you have been led to believe. So what does this have to do with what's going on? Well, again, if you watch the news, you're being told that politicians, congressmen, are, in fact, Schumer supposedly introduced a bill that would require the military to disclose any UFO retrieval programs or any UFOs that they have or any alien bodies that they have. And so people are under the impression that what you're being told is that disclosure is about revealing the alien bodies, meaning extraterrestrial, non-human bodies, the alien spacecraft, meaning non-human engineered spacecraft. And then, of course, the logical extension of that is the danger to humans as a result of that. That you're being led to believe that the disclosure is about what are the dangers to us from extraterrestrial non-human beings and their technology. Tell us the truth. This is what ufologists are talking about. Ufologists are people who spend their life chasing after evidence or stories or anecdotal evidence of supposed extraterrestrial involvement with humans. Ufologists love following the abduction narrative. And again, abductions are a real thing. Aliens, beings that do not have empathy for humans, do in fact abduct other humans and experiment on them and do all kinds of other things to them. There are reports, according to the latest mainstream whistleblower, David Grush. According to David Grush, the mainstream whistleblower, aliens have harmed and or killed humans. And I'm here to tell you that that is absolutely the case, that goes on all the time. Aliens who are presented as extraterrestrial non-human beings are engaged in doing this very thing. But they are not extraterrestrial. They are from Earth. Not only are they from Earth, they are humans. There is a human-alien hybrid program going on. People have been abducted and their genetic material has been forcibly taken from them and used to try to create human-alien hybrids. I believe the stories of people who claim to have been abducted, women who claim to have been abducted and impregnated and going back and being introduced to their hybrid children. I believe that. I believe that has happened. But the program is not engineered by extraterrestrials, it's engineered by humans. So I put the link in here if you want to find out what's really going on. What's really going on behind the scenes, that the real question is whether or not the government, the elected officials in government, whether or not they have either the chutzpah or if they have the power to actually come forward with what is really being told to them. What is really going on. And so we get back to the question here, because I'm trying to tell you, there is a very real possibility that there will be an alien invasion of Earth, an alien attack on human military, perhaps an alien attack on human populations in cities. And I'm here to tell you it'll look a lot like that picture. And this is a battle that is going on right now. The real question is, who's going to win this battle? Who's going to win? We could hypothetically say there is a battle between aliens and extraterrestrials. Because unlike aliens, who are different, who are sociopathic, who abduct, who do things like create hybrid human-alien, human extraterrestrial breeding programs. Unlike them, actual extraterrestrials are only interested in helping humans. They, unlike the aliens, they have super empathy. In fact, they have more empathy for us than even we have for ourselves or for each other. And that has to do with the nature of the dimension in which they live. Feelings are much more intense. In the dimensions that the extraterrestrials live in, who have been interacting with humans since before humans even evolved, it's impossible for them to have any negative feelings, because the fifth dimension can't tolerate, once you have a predatory negative feeling, it throws you, literally you'll manifest in the third dimension. You'll pop out of the fifth dimension into the third dimension. So we could say there is a war between ETs and aliens, between Earth-based aliens and extraterrestrial empathic beings who are only interested in the evolution of human culture and the human race and the shifting of the planet Earth and allowing it to become part of the intergalactic, interdimensional civilization. So what is the best course of action? What is the one tool that we can use to fight against them? So what I'm here to say is I actually hope that the efforts that are being done by Dr. Greer and his team and others like him, and the extremely brave whistleblowers that you're not hearing about, that mainstream media is not talking about. I really hope that those actual whistleblowers are able to get the protection that they need so that they can speak in public without fear of reprisal or fear of, assassination. By the way, in case you don't know it, Dr. Greer, 3 of his team, I thought it was 2, but it's actually 3 of his team were assassinated by the very people who are responsible for the alien abduction scenario. And he himself was attacked by what's called a scalar weapon, which is an energy weapon that goes faster than the speed of light, which gave him cancer and almost killed him. And So this is the kind of threat that people are having to deal with who know about what has been going on for almost 100 years. And so I hope that they are able to come forward, because if you can imagine hundreds or thousands of people who've worked in these black ops military and who have worked in the classified aspects of technology, like Raytheon and Skunkworks and that kind of stuff. Imagine if thousands of those people were able to come forward and tell their story to the world. So I hope that they win out, but there's definitely a real battle. And now, my personal experience, number one, you may not know that, maybe you have been following it, but I believe we're on schedule for a pretty hefty solar storm. I felt a lot of energy yesterday, and I don't know if it was solar radiation or not, but I felt a lot of intense energy. In fact, I was feeling a lot of anxiety, which usually means that I'm getting hit with some solar radiation. It could just be I was having normal human anxiety, but I seem to feel a lot of stuff going on. I did get some communications from my ET friends leading me to believe that there's a lot of stuff going on under the surface, and perhaps the path of empathy has made some big victories lately. But there's definitely something on the rise, and it's going to happen soon. It's going to happen very soon, in terms of there's going to be some kind of transformation within the circles of government worldwide. And it's either going to go one way or the other. It's either the powers that be who are controlling the aliens are going to do something to dislodge the awakening process, and it could be extreme, could be very extreme. Or the infrastructure of the powers that be is going to come to a grinding halt, and they will lose everything. That is my hope. So I'm here to tell you that I'm at war. I'm at war with anything that is seeking to prevent knowledge of the truth, not only of what has been going on planet Earth for 100 years at least, but also any forces that are trying to prevent human beings from becoming aware of who they truly are and what the nature of the multiverse really is. Because once humans become aware of what the nature of the multiverse really is, I guarantee you everybody would stop indulging or interacting with any of this. People would just stop using money. People would stop voting. People would, cops would put their guns down and walk out of the precinct. People on the front lines would drop their weapons and turn around and walk away. None of the stuff that's going on would continue. Nobody would if people knew, they just simply would not participate in the structure of society as it is now. They'd stop. If you're like me and you've been doing the interdimensional meditations, you probably kind of feel like, let's be done with this farce already. Every time I have to do something, that holds up the economic facade, or holds up this idea of governments and countries and all of that. Everything that I have to do to sort of play that game, it's just getting old. It's getting old. I have no interest in any of that kind of activism. But so what is it that's going to be the one thing that will defeat the powers behind this alien and perhaps coming alien invasion? And it's very simple. interacting on a higher dimensional level. Going to the quantum field in meditation and imagining, just with your imagination, connecting to the quantum field and imagining the structure of the elites crumbling. That they cannot fight against that. What is happening, I'm realizing, because I have a different perspective than most, because of my experiences. I have, if you're new to the channel, I have had personal interactions for at least the past year with higher dimensional, interdimensional extraterrestrial beings. And what I've come to find out is that there's no difference. Interacting with extraterrestrial, interdimensional beings is literally no different than having a spiritual awakening. The difference is a spiritual awakening has always been an understanding that there's something beyond what we call the physical. And that's as far as it's gone. But in terms of the essence of the experience, the expansion of consciousness, the opening of energy centers, the experience of love, the awareness that your essence, your soul is infinite, and that other people are infinite souls, and that there's a connection, and you may have this experience of connecting to God or something like that. Maybe you have an experience where you communicate with a spiritual being like an angel or a spirit guide. The essence of that experience is identical to the experience that somebody has when they consciously interact with an extraterrestrial. Because the only extraterrestrials that are visiting Earth are extraterrestrials from higher dimensions. There's no such thing as this three-dimensional ship with exhaust things and made from different metallic panels, and they land physically, even if they have the ability to do things like go through walls and grab you out of your bed and drag you out of bed and do all that kind of stuff. All of that is within the third dimension. And so these higher dimensional beings don't function like that. But what you are being led to believe, because that's your experience, is that whatever it is that's going to be revealed, supposedly by finding out what these alien spacecraft and these alien bodies and the alien retrieval program, whatever they say is going to be revealed, all fits in within the three-dimensional narrative about what these beings are. And once you've interacted with them, you realize that there's literally no difference between a higher dimensional extraterrestrial physical being in terms of your experience. There's no difference between that and being visited by a guardian angel. There's no difference. However, you experience an alien, a three-dimensional alien, who comes in and shines, blasts your home with floodlights and floats through the ceiling and takes you out of your bed as you're in a hypnagogic state and unable to move. And they take time away from you and they experiment on you and implant you and sexually abuse you. That is all happening within the third dimension. So I am at war. I'm on the warpath to destroy and defeat the narrative. And if you want to join me on that warpath, I invite you. The tool, the weapon that cannot be stopped. These people might be able to stop whistleblowers from coming forward. They might even be able to kill them. They might be able to threaten them and kill them. They might be able to control the media outlets so that the only information that you get is information that they approve, including YouTube. They might be able to control all of that. But the one thing they cannot control and never have been able to control is your ability to go into the quantum field and meditate about creating reality. And that is your true power. Now, my ancestors knew this because we use the word human now, which is a Latin word that I believe means soil. So, wherever that came from, I don't know. But the word that my ancestors used for humans was called man. Now, the word man means physically male human. But originally, man meant human beings, whether male or female. And man comes from the word for mind. And the word for mind is the same word for moon. Interchangeable. The same word for soul is the word for the sun in the ancient Germanic languages. So when we talk about human beings, we are talking about beings who have the ability, like the moon, to reflect the power of the soul. It means that you have a mind, not an intellect. That's your brain. You have a meditative mind that allows you, through meditation, to access higher dimensional anything. And the word man actually means the reflection of the soul, the reflection of the infinite, the divine on earth, that has the ability to create reality. You've been given a false understanding of religion where religion has taken that and flipped it on its head and said that God created you in his image. But it's coming from a knowing that we have, which is that we are God. And we create the world by using our minds, our powers of meditation. And the beings and the people who are behind this, they don't have that ability. Because they have no empathy, because they are aliens, because they are sociopaths and psychopaths, because they have the inability to have empathy not only for other people, but even for themselves, because it's a projection. Abusive people are projecting onto you what they actually do to themselves internally. So, you can't love others until you love yourself. And so they can't love themselves. They have zero self-love. They hate themselves on a level that is absolutely intolerable, which is why they're so abusive. They project that, intolerable state onto you. And when they see you in a tortured state, it actually relieves them because now somebody else they're not alone. You didn't know that. Abusers abuse other people so they don't feel alone in their abuse. So they can't do that. The thought of creating with their mind is an alien concept to them because you have to have the ability to empathize. You have to have the ability to allow yourself to be connected emotionally, psychologically, energetically, and spiritually with other consciousness. And the quantum field is a state of consciousness that is available to you and will serve you. And if you want to call the quantum field God, you can. So God will serve you. Instead of God creating you in his image, God creates whatever you imagine. So if you imagine a world where these people, these beings, lose all of their power, they will. So the more of you that do that, the better it is. But if you watch what is being presented to you, again, I was saying earlier that I have a different experience of this. And the truth is I could care less about spaceships. I could care less about them. The fake ones or the real ones, I don't care. It doesn't hold any attraction to me. I mean, sure, if an extraterrestrial spaceship landed in my front yard, yes, I'd be very interested. I'd want to go out and take a look at it. But the truth is, I don't spend my time looking around for aliens. I don't care about that. I'm interested in them the same way that I'm interested in connecting with spiritual beings. The same way that I'm interested in connecting with people that I like. You know, I don't care what kind of car you drive. If I'm interested in you, I want to get to know you. I'm not going to watch with binoculars, watch you to see when you're going to drive down the street to see what kind of car you have, which is what I see people who are obsessed with looking for spacecraft. I mean, so what? Who cares what kind of cars they drive? Who cares? But it does show our obsession with things in the third dimension. We want to bring them down into the third dimension. Watching the sky looking for aliens is your unconscious desire to bring them into the third dimension. And the powers that be are using that against you. That's why they are plastering mainstream news networks with Tic Tacs and with those, you know, the flying pyramids and the big giant V shapes. Many of those, by the way, are holograms. They're not even real ships, although they have the capacity to create real ships if they want. Real spaceships. Humans already have this ability. Spaceships that disappear and appear, that travel thousands of, you know, disappear in the blink of an eye and travel, you know, thousands of, you know, miles a second or whatever it is. So, I have a different experience because when I see those ships, I don't get any uncomfortable feelings. Where I can imagine the average person who hasn't experienced this, when they see videos of Tic Tacs and flying pyramids and, you know, things that disappear and dive under the water and all of that, that it's going to create some fear within you. And you start imagining the sky filled with spaceships. And because it's unknown to you, it causes tremendous fear. And you don't know what the beings are who are inside those spaceships. And you imagine that they're sociopathic or that they're psychopathic and that they don't understand human beings, and yet they have more power than you do and they can do all kinds of things, but they'll never be able to see or feel or experience you, so therefore they're frightening. That's happening on an unconscious level. Every time you watch the news and they tell you supposedly a story about disclosure, which is you're supposed to go, oh my God, there's going to be disclosure. What they're really doing when you listen to it is that they're saying, oh, by the way, yeah, we're admitting it. We have alien spacecraft and we have the bodies of aliens. And oh, by the way, they're a danger to humans and they're aliens. Just by me repeating the word alien is going to make you feel different from them. If I repeat the word alien, you're going to see them as sociopathic, as dangerous. They'll never empathize with you. They'll take you hostage. They will abduct you and take your genetic fluids and then throw you back out, you know, into the field with mutilated cattle. Alien this, alien that, alien, alien, alien. It's all designed to create fear in you. And when there's enough fear, they will launch this attack. Or so I'm told. So I am recommending that everybody go to war with me and do that with meditation. Simply go into meditation, and whatever it is that you perceive as being powers that be, that are taking away your freedoms, that are responsible for the housing crisis, that are responsible for all the wars, that are responsible for all of the other things involved in the things that we eat and the medicines that we take, for those who are controlling the media so that the truth is never coming out. You know, I have other questions about, as I'm watching what's happening in the States in terms of the weather. I mean, I've never in my life, I've never seen so many prolonged weather events ever. I mean, since springtime in the Northern Hemisphere, we've been hearing about fires, we've been hearing about tornadoes, we've been hearing about floods, and it's just not nonstop. And I'm watching what's happening in the Caribbean because I was living in Florida for a while, and I'm glad I don't plan on going back anytime soon because I lived through 2 hurricanes. I never want to do that again. But the water temperature in the Atlantic and in the Caribbean is off the charts. They've never seen anything like this, and it's supposed to be cooler now because this is a La Nina year. So things are supposed to be cooler over the Atlantic, and it's not. They've never seen so much heat in the waters as they're seeing now. They've never seen it before. And so, when all of this is going on, tornadoes, storms, floods, fires, and then you've got all the stuff that's happening, the destruction of the cities. You're hearing people talk about downtown San Francisco, and you're hearing about the crime in Los Angeles, and worse than normal. And then you've got this housing crisis on top of that, and then you've got the political. I mean, politics has really just kind of destroyed itself. There's no such thing as a functioning political system anymore. And you combine that with the fact that there are, that the water is warmer than it's ever been in the Atlantic, and and the heat waves and all of that. And I know that there are technologies that can mess with weather. We know that, and we've got the elites who want to. I think it's sulfur dioxide. They want to put that in the atmosphere to block out the sun. It's very hard. It's getting really, really hard for me not to just completely go off the conspiracy deep end here. So there's only one tool that we have left, and that is through our meditations. And I am told by, here's something else before I shut up. That the third dimensional alien confederation, we'll call it that, the third dimensional alien confederation, the only tools that they have are mental. They can mess with your mind. They can hypnotize you. They can do things to control the information that you have and the beliefs that you have. And the fact is that the collective unconscious is a spiritual force that surrounds the earth, and it's stronger in some places than others. When there's, if you go to places, like Los Angeles or San Francisco or New York, and you're in the midst of that, you will be under the influence of a spiritual force, which is the collective unconscious, the beliefs, the assumptions that are held by the average person. Even if you're not interacting with somebody, that stuff gets inside of you, and it's a way to control you. So even though they have that power, they don't have anything outside of the third dimension to accomplish their goals. They have to use 3D technology, and 3D technology includes Star Wars and Star Trek and all of that. And according to the guys at Skunkworks, they've already accomplished that, since 1954. So everything you see on Star Trek and Star Wars, humans have already accomplished technologically. But what they don't have the ability to do is to control the quantum field. And what they don't have ability to even access, even if we're talking about higher dimensional physical beings, which are the actual extraterrestrials who have been coming to Earth before humans ever even evolved. Even if we take them out of the equation, I'm telling you from personal experience, there are non-physical beings who have far more power, far, far, far more power than anything this alien confederation can manufacture. And they're clueless. The 3D aliens are completely clueless as to who these beings are. And so you can access them through the quantum field. You can communicate with them. You can allow them to expand your awareness of everything, including yourself. And that is really the hidden weapon that we have. Our spiritual, human beings have an unbelievable ability, although extremely untapped, but unbelievable ability to tap into spiritual forces far beyond anything in the third dimension. You have a pineal gland in your brain, which is actually made up of crystals. And those crystals, when you do spiritual practices, begin to move and create an electromagnetic field, which actually gives you the ability to send your consciousness into other dimensions. You have these chakras, which allow you to move the Kundalini energy, which is fifth dimensional consciousness energy, through different levels of your awareness. You have the meridians in your body that move chi and move the lightning energy of the heart. And the three-dimensional aliens don't have access to this. They've chosen to not go down that path. They want to. They try and get other people to do it for them. They try and recruit psychics. They try and recruit energy workers, but it never ends up going anywhere. They never really accomplish a whole lot. They might be able to do a little bit on a psychic level, but it's very rudimentary. And they really don't understand what they're dealing with. But as I understand it, on the physical plane, there has been a clock put on at the very least, the United States government, which is going to last for another 5 or 6 months. And then internal processes within the governmental system are going to kick in to release this information, and I hope that happens. But there's, without a doubt, there's a time clock that's been put on Earth by higher dimensional forces, which include non-physical spiritual beings who are not bound by space or time and who have infinite amounts of energy. You know, when I interact with these beings, there's a level of extraterrestrial beings that I find to be, and again, this is just my experience. I'm not trying to say I know everything about it, but in terms of my experience, sort of like the entry level beings are very friendly and very kind and very gentle. And so they don't get involved in any of the controversies. They're just there. There would be like your angels or your guardian spirits, or And then there are some other biological extraterrestrials that function on higher dimensional levels. As I understand it, you can keep a physical body up through the 8th dimension. And once you get beyond that, you no longer have a body. So once you get up into 6 dimensions, and those physical beings are incredibly powerful, and those guys are dead serious. Those guys, when you interact with them, they are dead serious about, they don't play any games, and they are serious about shifting Earth and human beings to a higher level. And God help any third dimensional being that has to go up against them. Now, they're not violent, so they have no interest in that, but their energy is so intense and their focus is so intense. They definitely have a time clock on this. And if we don't get it together, if we don't choose to get it together, then there's going to be some interdimensional shifts that are going to happen whether we want them to or not. And, you know, I believe it's possible that some humans will end up either exactly where they are or even in a worse position. And those who do want to shift will be shifted up to a higher level. And there's a definite time clock on that as well. And what I don't know is what's actually going to happen. And that's because the future hasn't happened yet. We have free will. We can change where things are headed. And the only way that we can really do that is, number one, change our behaviors and our actions. But the most powerful thing, which will give us even more power to change our behavior and actions, is by accessing the quantum field. And you do that through meditation. And if you have a meditative practice, you can simply go there. You can even, you know, in your waking state, just imagine the elites losing all of their power. Imagine your perfect reality. You know, I've been hearing for a very long time now, without even, you know, looking into this, but I've been hearing for a very long time, especially from people who have reported to have near-death experiences, you know, who have died and come back. They almost always say that everything's going to change. And then when people ask in what way, they say, in ways that we just don't have, it's nothing like what it is now. Everything will just be so completely different. And that's the best they can do, is say everything's going to be very different. And that to me sounds like a dimensional shift. And there have been people talking about this long before, you know, where we're at now, where now a lot of people are on the solar flash bandwagon and on the ascension bandwagon. And, you know, to be honest with you, the majority of it, I find them to be either delusional or fraudulent. Most of the stuff I hear is really just New Age nonsense. Or conflations, where you have people who have partial truth and partial conflation and, you know, all of that. But we've been hearing about this for a long time. And as I'm sitting here talking about it, I can feel all kinds of energy going through me. When that happens, it means that they're giving me the thumbs up. Something's very close to shifting. And when I ask them what's going to happen, you know, because they've come to me recently and said things, you know, about me are going to shift, which I don't know exactly what. I mean, I have some idea of what that means, but when they talk about everything shifting and the earth shifting, they start talking in ways that either frighten me, like I don't understand what that means, or it feels like, you know, I'm going to die and, you know, awaken in another world, or, you know, something like that. And when I ask exactly what happens, they tend to back off and they say, you know, you wouldn't understand yet. It's not time for you to know yet, or we don't want to frighten you. But big things are coming. So if we want to be a part of that, instead of having it happen to us, then we have the ability to take our inborn birthright, which is the power to tap into this quantum field and create the reality that we want. So that's what I'm recommending that we do, and that is the most powerful tool to defeat the very real aliens that are hoping to be able to invade and take over Earth, because that is something that, just like Independence Day, the movie, that kind of stuff is waiting to happen. But only if you give up your mind to that. Which the easiest way to do that is just don't do anything. If you don't do anything, they'll control you. So take control of your own mind. Take control of your own ability to imagine and create. And then you'll have the power not only of higher dimensional beings that will empower your ability, but you'll have connection to non-physical beings that we would see as gods, who are far, far more powerful than any alien confederation that can come up with this kind of scenario. Okay, so I've decided I don't want to take just questions from anybody, but I will take questions from people who are subscribed. If you're a subscriber to the 90-day lightning qigong and you have a question, I will take that. Or if you're one of my apprentices. If you're just somebody that's on the channel and you like watching the channel and you're not doing any of the practices, you're not one of my students, and or you're just doing the free stuff, I'm not inclined to take questions from you, because the reason is because at that level, when you're just on the periphery of the channel, and again, I just want to bring it to your attention. If all you do is just come and watch and you're not doing the work, you may think you're a part of the channel. But from my perspective, you're part of the peanut gallery. I mean, there are people that, I've come to find out who really think that they're tight with me and we're bros and whatever. And the only thing they've done is come onto the live stream and ask, irrelevant questions for, sometimes months on end. And I give all my attention to those people, and the actual people who are doing the work and know what it is that I'm teaching here. I'm taking time and energy away from them. So I'll give you, if you are subscribed and you are one of my students, I will allow you to ask a question. In the meantime, while you're thinking of a question, if you're not subscribed to the Warrior 90-Day Challenge, I don't know what the hell's the problem. It is the most powerful energy practice in the history of the planet. There's nobody in the world that has taken the 3 different energy practices, the highest of the 3 different energy practices, and converge them into one practice, which is the most powerful Qigong you'll ever get your hands on, Kundalini Yoga, which is the power of 5th dimensional consciousness and the power of the chakras, as well as the completely heretofore unknown lightning energy of the heart, which is actually so powerful that you will physically be able to drive away evil spirits with your body. If you do this practice enough, you walk into a haunted house, a ghost will run away from you. If you're interested in that, subscribe to the Warrior 90-Day Challenge. It'll give you access to the Manifestation Mastery course. We'll teach you how to get the universe to give you what you need and what you want in life. It'll give you access to the Mastery of Shamanism course, which is the original course I created. I don't even know how many hundreds or thousands of hours of teaching there is in there. There's no way you can get through all of the teachings in even a couple of years. It's just not possible. And you can just go here and subscribe to the 90-Day Challenge. And if you don't like it, you can unsubscribe. What have you got to lose? So stop giving me excuses about why, you want to come on the channel and you want to ask questions, but you're not willing to do the work. I'm not going to co-sign people's choice to be limited and their choice to be disempowered. I'm no longer going to co-sign any of that for anybody. But if you're, because we don't have time anymore. There's no more time. We're out of that. There's no more time to be a victim. There's no more time to be confused. There's no more time to not know. There's no more time. It's over. So if you're interested in, picking up, pulling up your pants and doing the work and becoming a deity in human flesh, then get yourself over here and subscribe. And as I said, if you don't like it, you can unsubscribe whenever you want. It's the same amount of money that I know you're already spending on video games and weed and whatever else that you do to disconnect or to entertain yourself. New pair of shoes, whatever it is. Just go and check it out and unsubscribe if you don't like it. You can go to courses.thunderwizard.com to see all of the stuff that I offer, all of the certifications, the Vedic astrology, the rune shamanism, the rune readings, tons of stuff on there. And of course my books, including Interdimensional Revolution. And by the way, I need to say this. If you've read my books, I need for you to go on and write a review. I don't check this stuff because, books, I just do it to give, there's no money in it for me. I just do it to get the information out. But I just recently went and looked at the only written review of my book, Extraterrestrials Come to Earth. And the majority of the reviews were 5-star, but none of those 5-star people actually wrote a review. The only person that wrote a review was a troll who just slammed and destroyed the book. And I got to tell you, my feelings got hurt. I mean, there are so many of you who give me this impression, whether you're subscribed or not, There's so many of you that give me this impression that you're so devoted to me and the teachings, and that you can't take 30 seconds to write a positive review for the book. Well, what's that? You haven't even read the book, but I watch your channel religiously. Do you see what I mean? It's just, you know. So stop giving yourself excuses about why you can't do this or you can't do that. What happened to the picture? Picture went blank. YouTube didn't want me complaining anymore. Anyway, still says I got excellent condition. While I'm still waiting for a question from those who are subscribed, I'm gonna refresh the page. Am I still on? Yeah, all right. So I don't know who you are, Blissful Purity, because the only way to ask a question is to tell me, what are you? Are you subscribed? What of my practices are you doing? I don't see that here. All right, so that's it. And that's really not I don't find that to be an interesting question. It feels like an escape. All right, so since there's no questions, I'm just going to end it here. All right, guys, that's it. You know the drill. You know where to go. You know what to do. At the very least, get yourself onto the thunderwizard.com YouTube channel page and go to the playlists and do the guided interdimensional meditations. I give those out to you for free. In fact, I guide you through them. I can't do anything more than that besides doing it for you. So go on to the interdimensional guided meditations, or if you want to know some of the more advanced ones, you can find it at thunderwizard.com, the 90-day challenge. That's it for me, guys. Thank you so much. I love you all, and I am meditating for every one of you and for this whole world. And keep your eyes out on the news and don't believe any of it. Okay, and I'll see you all very soon. Thank you so much.